training teacher, and it has been like similarly last time when we did the symposium a few years ago, where I also invited a couple of old teachers from Denmark. I have, studied different places, have a long life in music. I have at some point realized that I had really particularly lucky and great experiences with some teachers that had taught me very valuable stuff. And that's the people I have been inviting here, and Flemming is then one of them. So, warm welcome and
thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And thank you very much to Hauko and Philip and Annette for greeting me. It's such a nice place you have here. I hope that everyone can hear what I say and understand my poor English, but I think we might better start with a song. A small song that we all know. Three subjects or disciplines holds a, I would say, very significant and special position in my year training classes. And I will try to shed at least some light on the why and the how I make use of them in my classes. At least within the next couple of hours, and maybe please, and maybe if you could tell me when half of the time is gone, maybe
Sure.
we should have a small break then.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about improvisation, imitation, and analysis. Well, if you take improvisation and imitation, for instance, they are very often categorized as being two very different subjects and disciplines. Imitation often signifies a category as being a simple copying or almost automatic repetition, really a state of maybe uncreative, unoriginal and on creative reproduction. And in the opposite spectrum, improvisation often signifies such esteemed virtues as playful presence or freedom, innovation, inner creativity. So improvisation and innovation often speaks into the postmodern values of being the original artist. And that's quite natural, but I also think that these two subjects, improvisation and imitation, represent two directions in learning. Imitation being a kind of from outside and in experience, we get an impression from the outer world and we try to imitate it, receive the impression. And improvisation the other way around, we try to express what's within ourselves. So sending an expression. But of course, this somewhat rigid and stereotyped conception of improvisation and imitation is, of course, too simple, but nonetheless, I think it's quite common. And in terms of analysis, for instance, an ear training class, but it could be on the stage as well, because you're trying to be alert and you're trying to be conscious of what you're doing, even though you might be performing. I think we all had the experience of being in a class and a teacher played a chord for us and asking the question, what is this? And sometimes you have to play the chord a lot of times, and you ask a certain student or one of your colleagues, what is this? And there's silence, really. And you're expecting some kind of answer, but the answer doesn't come, although it comes as a new question. And that question is, of course, could you play it again, please? And so I think ear training is not primarily a brain activity. It's an activity stimulated by musical activities like imitation and improvisation. So when we combine this triangular unit, I think it's possible to make them work together in a way that, at least I believe, make a different attention and open up more perspectives on each and every one of these disciplines. Also, by applying both open and closed skills on all of them, and by open skills I mean that you can find more than one solution to a specific problem or issue. A creative approach where the amount of solution is open. And the closed skills, of course, a more convergent thinking, where there's a specific and very good solution to a specific problem. And these last ones actually maybe being a preconditioned skill for further development. I mean, the preconditioned skills is like the ground barrier or the foundation for many of the things we will have to do at a later point. And so we could say that this is the rehearsal group. And this could be the concert. And so the way of convergent or divergent thinking is quite impossible to manage up here, because then you just want to play, you just want to react to every moment. But down here you want to be present and you want to be conscious of what are you doing in a practice situation. So if you imagine that a tennis player would train his backhand or a serve or a volley or a stop ball or whatever, trying to make that function, and then when it starts to function, the combination, the possibility of combination just increases rapidly, because it's like the fundamental skills just seek each other in a higher purpose. And so if you're playing like a tennis player playing the final match in the Wimbledon final, and you suddenly find yourself missing a ball or two, the problem is that there might be a problem in the preconditioned skills, and the more you think about them, the more the problem increases, because this is not what you want right now. You just want to play the match. So I think improvisation and imitation and analysis can be open and closed, all of them, in the sense that analysis can be a shared language, a grounding education or Bildung, as you would say, and at the same time it can be a very creative and varied gatherings of viewpoints, using all kinds of thinking, visualization, tactile and haptic impulses, and a lot more. And improvisation, of course, is your personal voice. Yes, it is, but it's also a tool for self-examination, a conscious work. If you think of a person improvising, you would often hear somebody in a jazz club, for instance, going like, ah! Oh! So this is quite strange, right? You have a person improvising, and you could say, hey, you are improvising, you can play whatever you want. But it's like the person is playing something and then gets a little disappointed of how it sounds, and then go, that was not quite it. Why? Of course, because we have an inner ear, we have an inner musicality. And when we try to play, it's not always that inner musicality comes through, and so we get a little disappointed. But that means what we are improvising is actually an imitation of what is inside our heads. So it's not that improvisation is just doing something, it's doing something really good and really specific, and that is playing what you hear or following a certain path. There's this strange story, you might know it. It's I think Derek Bailey, who wrote a good book on improvisation, meeting Steve Lacy in Rome. And he goes up to Steve Lacy and he says, could you please tell me just in 15 seconds, what is the difference between composition and improvisation? And Steve Lacy's thinking for a short moment, and he says, well, in 15 seconds, I would say that in composition, you have all your life to find out what to say in 15 seconds. But as in improvisation, you have 15 seconds. And although the story is interesting, I don't think it's true, because Joni Mitchell or John Coltrane or Bach or Liszt or Mozart or Michel have not used 15 seconds on their improvisation. They have used a lifetime on it. So the story is not quite true, I think. And the last one, imitation, of course, in a convergent, divergent aspect could be, of course, exchange of ideas, an inventory of material, a library, really, of your musicality, and also a creative development inventory that you can move around for a lot of purposes. And that is, once you start moving a lot of possibilities around, you are actually improvising. So, acknowledging these three disciplines as a source of quality and diversity within an interactivity between them, I think is quite crucial. And of course, finding them in our everyday work as singers and songwriters and musicians. So I think for me it has a meaning in two directions. The individual's own history of self-development on a study, or as a self-study musician, as well as the awareness and appreciation of the artistic musical creativity in general in the world or in your close environment. Let's do something practical, and because what I'm going to do today is actually quite simple, and you might say, well, that was really simple. I mean, what more is there to it than just a scale? But I find that simple is sometimes good, and but it's not always easy, because it's actually quite hard what we are going to talk about now. It takes effort, but I think it's worth the effort. Can everybody see this board? Of course, this is just a scale, but in improvisation, for instance, we are always at a certain spot inside the music. And I think the idea of just finding a tonic note on a scale and then sing it in an ascending way is, of course, an exercise, but it's not really representative in terms of what we are doing when we improvise. So I'm trying to divide the sense of tonality into two directions, one going up and one going down. Try to sing a do. And let's try to find the fourth note and say fa, mi, re, do after the sound. And so. One more time, fa. call the two directions and say that they are some archaic melodies that we understand just as a direction. And if we say that we have fa, mi, re, do, and then sol, la, ti, do, then the next time we will sing mi, re, do, and la, ti, do, and the last time re, do, and ti, do. And what this is doing is that we want to be able to hear fa, mi, re, do, and sol, la, ti, do every time, even though we only sing re, do, and ti, do. So try to train your inner ear and imagine that you're singing them all before you just sing the re, do, because it belongs to the descending group and otherwise. So let's go again. We just hear fa and sing. We hear. So when I do this, it's so, and you just hear so. And re. Faster. To be independent also when I'm a little bit annoying. Good one. At this stage I immediately try to maybe we should have a student, a volunteer.
One or more?
Maybe just one.
Just one.
What for exactly?
What?
What for? What do you want us to volunteer for?
I won't tell you before you down.
Sure.
What's your name?
I'm Julius.
Julius?
Yeah.
Hi. My name is Flemming. You get the pen. You know, something often happens if you get a pen in your hand. It's like now you're going to prove something, and this is really a killer. So, of course, within the span of 2 hours, it's very, very difficult to just to explore what this kind of working means, because it has to be automatized. You have to do something for as long as you don't really think of it anymore. But how are you doing according to scales and tonality in general?
You mean your training wise?
Yes.
Okay, I guess.
Yes. Good.
Not great.
Let's go to the board. So, what we're dealing with is two simple melodies called two tetrachords, right? Consisting of 4 notes, but even though we only sing maybe one note, it's a part of one of these two tetrachords. So if I do like this, where do we want to resolve? Yes, so just sing the note I play and pronounce it and say ti do, for instance. And here, try to sing the note and sing it home without pronouncing.
So,
mi, re, do. See what he's doing? He's saying mi, re, do. No. Fa, di, da, do. Fa, mi, re, do. So it's like, it's the imitation that makes the analysis. And that's the point. The analysis is not an intellectual brain activity. It is the imitation that does the work. So, yes? So, good one. Now we take a new layer with the analysis and just say that now you should write the note while you're singing it and resolving it. You don't have to write the resolving maybe, but just write the beginning note while you're singing it on and pronouncing on solfege.
should I correct myself before I write it, or?
Yes. Okay, so being able to imitate, to try to feel what kind of tension is this, and put it in a certain key, in this case C major, but of course we would go to E flat or A flat and be sure that your recognition in terms of pitches in that key just responds. And I would just gradually increase the number of tones and just expand the imitation capacity, but writing or saying in the moment. Let's just say that if we have this impression that we have a tonality and we can find different pitches within the tonality, then of course we also have a sense of how just one pitch sounds like in terms of the relation to the tonality. So now I'm doing an exercise here. We'll just imagine that this is the music. So if anybody comes in out from outside and hear us just playing this note for a very long time, they might think we are idiots. But if this is a do, of course, this is sing the note, do. If this is a T, what is my tonality? If this is a Fa, what is my tonality? If this is a Sol, what is my tonality? If this is a Re, what is my tonality? If this is a La, try to sing the resulting lines also. If this is a Mi, what is the tonality? So let's imagine that you can hear this G as a center tone through a lot of harmonic chords or progressions, and you say, well, I can hear this, I can hear this, I can hear this, or I can hear this, or this, and so on. So we can begin to look at a progression out of just a one-note relationship with these chords, and say, oh, be do ba do be do. This is a so. Do de da di da do re bo ba di da ba do 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 be do do de do di di da la ti do bo da do ba di den do mi re do bo ba din do be din di do de do den do chi bo ba do ba di de do de di di bo bi bo fa in minor. So we have this one note that just, because our flexibility in terms of pitches becomes richer, so we can sing just solo over chord structures. Thank you. Yes. could you... So how many people are we?
Make some noise.
Try to see if you could share so everybody can see in some way. No?
Flemming, skal jeg lave nogle flere? Skal jeg lave flere kopier, hvis du har? How many are we? Extra copies? Who needs one? One. There's a few. There, 2, 3, 4. Can you, just till we get started, look together and I'll make some more copies. Yeah?
Okay. Try to look at this page called trinøvelse. Trinøvelse. It's a nice Danish word. Say after me. It's just 4 lines with simple graver notes. So, in terms of sight reading, for instance, I use these pitch exercises. And we start with number 1, which is only 4 pitches, and that is a fa leading to the mi, and of course the mi as well, and a ti leading to the do, and both of these notes as well. Nothing else than these notes is on these 4 first exercises. And it's just to eradicate every other possibility and being able to find the most crucial notes in the tonality, in a major tonality, that is. So, and at this point I also want to go about it in a different way in terms of what are you actually reading? Because if I ask every of you what you're thinking when you see this, some of you would maybe say note names, and some of you would just move your hands in terms of that instrument that you are used to playing, and some of you would sing maybe on Solfége or whatever. So we're trying to have a different sensory perception of what this can mean in a certain landscape. So let's just say the notes in this tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. C, F, E, E, C, F, E, C, E, C, E, F, C, F, E, E. Okay, let's do it in a real tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. C, F, E, E, C, F, E, C, E, C, E, F, C, F, E, E. Yes. Let's do it from behind, backwards. 1, 2, 3, 4. B, E, F, C, F, B, C, E, C, E, F, C, B, E, F, C. Yes, I can hear something say. Someone say ha. Yeah.
Yes, German.
The same in Denmark. I've had for 40 years tried to clean up this mess. But in school you learn that it's A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right? So it is in music as well. Okay, so we want to secure that we can read the actual notes clean of any accidentals and with a sharp or flat. Let's do the same with the E flat. So we just set note names. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4. A flat G, D, E flat D, G, A flat E flat D, G, D, E flat A flat D, G, A flat. Yes. And of course, some people have a little difficulty in those beneath the system and those on top of the system. So, let's try to sing them. 1, 2, on Solfége. One more time. 3, 4, and. From behind. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, give me a note that is in C major, but not as a C. And a note that is also in E flat, but it's not a E. Yes. A G. So we have now been in C major. Of course, now we go to what? Yes. We go to E flat with the same note sounding as a B. Try to read the second line. It says, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
3, 4. Find a note that's in both E flat and D, but is neither a D or E flat. F is not in D major. G. So what? G. G again. Now becomes what in the next tonality? Yeah, how does it sound? The resolving. Let's sing it. 3, 4. And the last one. A D is A. Yes, becomes what? A. It becomes D.
B.
We are in F major.
Ah, sorry, I was thinking B flat.
So it sounds like what? Starting on the low, fa. 3, 4. 9 exercises like this that just puts one note on for every page we turn. Yes?
May I ask a question?
Yes?
How does this work in countries that use the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti as the note names?
It doesn't.
Because I spent 6 years in Chile and I'm dying.
Yeah.
I cannot do this.
I understand.
Because every time you say do, I'm looking for the
Yes.
button C and I cannot find it.
Yes.
So it really does not work with Spanish or Italian speaking countries.
So,
Actually good because you know syllables. You don't have to learn the syllables.
yeah.
So,
I also had a lot of Spanish and Hungarian students, and some of them can sing the most amazing Charlie Parker solos on solfa. But I also must admit that, like for instance, having perfect pitch, it's not always a beneficial thing.
No,
So-
it's
so-
absolutely not because it hurts.
Yes, I know, but I mean, if you went to India to study Indian music, you would also have a lot of problems. So we try to conquer different problems with different techniques, and of course there's a lot of work if you have been used to one set of pronunciation or listening. It's demanding. It is. I cannot say anything. But I can only say that in terms of improvisation and in terms of having a different look at tonality is, I think it's possible to do both, actually, with a little trick. Yeah. So the idea is that, I don't know, yes, I think, maybe we should just wait a little bit with the next exercise in this, and then try to just put a little more chromatic notes on this. If you look at the page, Introduction 5 Chromatics. Is it there?
Yeah. Page 2.
Yes. And of course, again, it's a little bit hard to try to do this in 2 hours, but because there's a lot of small things we're doing, just to get used to every pitch. And so my feeling is that after 9 weeks, maybe 10, maybe 11, but plus 1 or 2 weeks, my students are most of the time able of telling any pitch in any tonality out of these exercises. So it's possible to do within a couple of months, 2, 3. So let's just try to make this me. Now we are in minor, so it sounds like. And le.
Which one?
Le. So we have a minor third on the tonic, and we have a minor third on the subdominant. How about here? So we sing me, it says. And And let's take the next one, D. And I try to make this not so often a Ra, a low second, but more often a high Do, because I want it to resolve. And like, you know, if we play and just resolve into the Do, it sounds a little not so interesting. So try to attach it to the Re. So say try to do that in this key. Yes, and here. Okay. And now a week has gone, and we say me, le, and di together. Okay?
Ready.
Let's try to do all four of them. That is me. And the last one. So, and of course you are experienced musicians, and so it's quite easy here. But let's try to say that after some weeks we now say Fa mi re do, sol la ti do, mi re do, la ti do, re do, ti do, mi re do, le so do, di re do, li ti do, fi so do. Does everyone follow? So we do it just all of them together. we want to copy or imitate this into a lot of different tonalities. So, a new volunteer, please.
5 minutes, then it's an hour.
Time flies.
Yeah? Great.
Hey. What's your name? Matthias. Welcome. You get a pen?
Great responsibility.
So now you're going to think. No. Now we're going to react, actually. So, and how do you feel about E flat?
You mean as a note or as a...
As a tonality.
It's okay, I guess.
It's okay. That's good. Let's try to sing this whole thing together with Matthias. And while we sing it, you write the exact note, and please write all the accidentals. But you must not write the accidentals beforehand. I want you to.
Okay.
I want you to sing and write the exact note without knowing what it is. Yeah. So we say.
And I write it.
You write while you say fa. It's a D.
No, the next one is E.
Yeah.
And then it's
No, it's actually not.
it's E. Okay.
Yes. Can you sing Do?
Do.
And how sounds Li?
Li.
That's it. Yes. It's a leading tone. Li goes to T, and Li and T is on different places.
Right. Yes.
Yes. So you can see all this. It's very Matthias is doing very good, but it's a very small, small things that you have to correct in terms of just getting to a point where you can do this quite fast. Right, Matthias. Before we go to a small break, improvise a little over what I'm playing.
With solfege?
So, okay, we take all the beginning notes here. And this one last. And maybe it's a good idea to put a resolving sign.
So I write them.
I'm just thinking, if we think in E flat, I would do like this.
Okay.
Yeah. Do an improvisation again. Your first note of every phrase must be these notes. So the first phrase, you must start on fa, and then you just improvise by ear. The next, you must start on so, and then you just improvise by ear, and so on, and so on.
Okay.
Okay? To make a very long story short, we try to go into motivic development, starting on something, you know, where there's a special color, or putting it into the middle of an improvisation to be sure to reach that certain color. And we do a lot of exercises, improvising and writing at the same time. Or singing, playing on piano, singing, writing on the board, mixing things up so we have a variety of sensory perceptions. And so we mean the same thing, we analyze the same thing, but we are doing it by an activity that is explanatory in some ways. Yeah. Let's take a short break.
Yep. How long time?
This is a little bit beside the ear training, but I want to say just a few words on rituals, because I believe that rituals are capable of doing something in a teaching or in a classroom situation. A ritual is a formalized sequence of conducted activities shared by a group of people in order to form a certain mode of behavior. So in the sense that you can create any form of ritual, of course it's not an ideology or it's not a religious ritual, it's just a form that everybody understands and everybody can perform in. And then I think rituals are capable of doing something important. And that is, it offers a psychological influence on what we're doing. And it does so by a simultaneous, repeated and enhancing practice. And one important effect of that practice is that it is kind of quieting the debating mind. And I think in a modern world, we like to debate, we like to have opinions on almost anything. But in a ritual setting, it's like there will be less talking and increased focus on body and sensory perception. So the more debating and argumenting types of students or teachers become more observant and more descriptive in their choice of language. And I think that's quite important because it has an influence on the social ethics in the group. So establishing a common ground, realizing that the invested time you put into a way of working together that is kind of ritualistic is conforming all contenders' mutual wholehearted commitment to the project. And that's why to work in groups, maybe the same groups every Monday or every morning, or is essential in terms of getting something like this learned and internalized in a good way. So you could say that the ritual is re-establishing a contact to the significant and meaningful in the question, why do we work with something? Well, to be able to just overcome obstacles and learn things a little bit faster than we would otherwise. Fast track to musicianship, which is a fun concept, but I mean, because these things take time. So I think that once a ritual becomes recognizable, you do the same exercises. It's not the same because they evolve all the time, but once they become recognizable, it decreases doubt and increases receptivity and trusting the others in the group, and thus reducing anxiety and frustration. So it's important to put up some kind of ritual in terms of now we take a period where we work with this or this. Could you find that page called Basic Sense of Triads? And this is also just an introduction to what I call the only 5 chords in the world. Because I don't think there's more than 5 chords in our musical world. I know that's a provocative statement, but but just to say that we have 2 tonic chords. We have a major and a minor, and we have 2 tension chords, a diminished and an augmented, and then we have this joker. A sus chord that doesn't really want to imply whether it's a major or a minor. So we make these exercises just to be sure that everybody is in no doubt of whether they are singing major, minor, diminished, augmented, or sus. Let's just try to sing this on Solfége. We start with minor, then it becomes major, and then it becomes augmented. And then we translate the augmented from being a tonic chord with a raised fifth to being a dominant. That is, like C was before a Do, now C becomes So in the new tonality. Does it make sense? Let's do it. So we say 1, 2, 3, Do, Mi, So, Do, Mi, So, Do, Mi, Si. And now we change, so we go to F, singing So. Let's do the same thing from F minor. Now we again tonic on F minor. Augmented. This is now the dominant of B flat minor. So. And of course, the other way around. We start in major, and we go to minor, and we go to diminished, and we say, what is a diminished? Well, that is the 7th degree of a major scale. So we now say Ti, Re, Fa, Mi, Re, Do to the new tonality. So we start in major. Do, Mi, Se becomes the incomplete dominant of D flat. Ti, Re, Fa, Mi, Re, Do. Do that again. Becomes the incomplete dominant of D. And so on, and so on. And so when I play triads, we just recognize them as a tonic position that doesn't really move, or we recognize them as So, Ti, Me, Re, like that, or Ti, Re, Fa, Mi, Re, Do. Yes. And the last line, we make sus 4 and sus 2 in 2 ways, from Do and also from So. So, saying Do, Mi, So, dur now is the same note as so. So. Like that. Just a small exercise to clean up what might be there in terms of misunderstanding on this major, minor, diminished, augmented. This. I just have to keep track of time. When is it that we stop?
It's now 11:45.
Yes.
I think we stopped at, we had a plan.
12.
So, okay,
Half
good.
an hour.
So we have a lot of people ask me, what do you do about intervals? And I mean, it's quite arrogant as a teacher of ear training to say I don't. And it's not quite true. It's just that I spend a lot of time on this in the beginning of my courses. And when we come to intervals, I think that intervals is not a problem anymore. Because if you start singing a lot of intervals, you run into problems. Because intervals does not sound exactly the same. I know a lot of people would disagree, but I think in terms of improvisation, it's not the same to sing so do as it is to sing flat line and plus 11 on a dominant chord. It is not the same colors. So what you need is the tonality spectrum, and within that you just get used to all the combination of fourths or all the combination of minor seconds there is, and you don't have a problem singing even melodies that are not that tonality driven. And I think this is more important than being able to just recognize a major sixth every time you hear it. So I leave intervals for a period of times, and then I take it up later on. And I take it up by writing melodies that consist of only one set of interval. So if you take this one, it's called sekunder, which of course just means seconds. And this is just a melody that doesn't have anything else than a major and minor seconds. And I don't write any chords to it. I just improvise chords on the spot. So write your own and improvise chords to the right on the spot, and then suddenly you come up with 12 new compositions. Let's try to sing this one. So the idea is that if you look at the construction of a melody, you will find small elements of tonality, not from beginning to the end, but within these cells. And I quite agree with the American composer Walter Piston. I can never seem to get hold on if it's a French name or an American name. But he's discussing at some point atone music and atonality. And in some ways he says there's no such thing as atonality. And I quite agree, because we think in cells, we try to make things happen in small cells. Of course, it's not a traditional tonality, but it's still a few notes in a certain direction, establishing some kind of move or direction. So yeah. So in that aspect, try to see, can I find any kind of scale or any kind of tonality, that these 3, 4, 5 notes connect into maybe one definition and then sing from there. So let's try. And try to keep the metric as well. So we start here. And try to sing a little loud so we can hear each other. 1, 2, 3, 4. Get a sense of the interval through a whole piece. Matthias was singing all these the essential resolutions and the 5 chromatics. And in terms of, for instance, hearing or deciphering the alterations on the dominant, I think it's quite interesting to work with the, not so much the dominant, but the tonality itself. So if we look at a dominant, for instance, how many alterations can we have on a dominant? we can think in layers. What kind of layers do we have on a dominant?
I didn't understand the question.
No, I understand. It's a trick question. So I think like this. If we are at G7 in C major, we have 3 layers, and one could be called the 9th layer. That is, if I'm in C major, the 9th on the G7 is an A, right? That is, the A, like the G7, has a tendency towards C. So we still hear the A as something inside C or moving to C before C comes. So the A resolves La Ti Do. So it's a La. We also have a flat 9, that's A flat. It resolves as a Le. And we also have a sharp 9. And of course, it's a D. So my point is that once we are capable of singing all these resolution and just have an ability to put in any note, can be any pitch in a tonality, then you can learn to analyze all 7 alterations on a dominant within 15 minutes. It's really, that's what it takes, because this dominant goes home to what? So we have two versions of this dominant. The skeleton of the dominant is just either we have like this, and that is if the dominant note is in the bass. Either we have like this, or we have like this. So we can hear T on top, Fa in the middle, or Fa on top and T in the middle. So beware of this when we try just to, I will do this for 15 minutes, but now we do it for 15 seconds. Where does this go? It does not, because I have this in the bass, which is Sol La Ti Do, and if this is Sol La Ti Do, then this sounds like, right? So always be aware of what is in the bass. Of course, you could make it a tritone substitution and say, but we imagine that the lowest note is always Sol. And how about here? So let's say that we can hear now the dominant moving towards the tonic, and if we have a 9, then it's a La on top. How does La on top of this chord sound? Because this goes to, so of course, this must be 9. And if it's a flat 9, and if it's a sharp 9, and we now pretend that we have been doing this for 15 minutes. And so I just play 9, flat 9, or sharp 9, and you sing the resolving La Si Do, læ, so, do og li, si, do. So we go a bit higher into there, and says, like I did just before, if we go to this note, we get 11, or we get plus 11, and that is do, or E. And the distance between these two intervals is so significant that this is not hard, because either you have a suspension and you are already there, or you have di, re, do. Sing me a sus. Plus 11. Where does this chord go if it's a dominant? And then the plus 11 must be. Okay. Is it a fa, mi, re, do that's on top, or is it a ti-do that's on top of this chord? It's a fa. So sing fa. And the plus 11 on the dominant is, of course, is a. So the important thing is just to remember these dominant chords, hear them as so, ti, and fa. Once you get that wheel turning, then it's very, very easy to do. So, and the last one is the easiest alteration on the dominant chord, because we just say mi if we sing 13, and we sing me if it's flat 13. Yes?
So I didn't quite get how the D resolves. So the do obviously is part goes down, but what's happening to the D?
One more time.
So if I play, so if you play the C with the C sharp and the G, how did you identify the resolutions?
Like D, re, do. Yes. Like the resolutions on our 5 chromatics on the other page. Was it? Is it?
That was the question.
Good. So if the 11th is do on the dominant, then you have this dominant, then you have a T, but it is a suspension, so the T must be a do. Of course, the D must be an augmented suspension. That is just the sharp. Yes. So the last one. Mi is just the normal 13 and flat 13. And so we exercise these, it takes a at most half an hour, if all the other things are at place. And that is why I'm talking about ritual, because if you have a ritual and you say every day for a couple of months, you cannot miss tonality. It is not possible. Oh, of course you can if you miss the classes. Anything is possible. But and once the tonality is really, really settled, it's so easy to go into scales. It's so easy to go into tetrachords, as we spoke a little about. It's so easy to go into alterations and modulations, much easier. So it's, yeah. And like Matthias singing on a specific note into an improvisation, we of course extend this to, well, go into the different chords and emphasize different alterations or lines or different scales on the same chord. So maybe we should just have a group, 5, 6 people who wants to sing a song.
Passer det med 10 minutter cirka? Eller hvor langt?
Ja. Er det der, vi er?
Ja,
Ja.
stort set.
Jeg tror det.
Kom, Olof. Kom. You want some chairs? Or? Skal de have stole, Flemming?
Bare stå.
De skal bare stå. Stand up.
Stand up tall.
Together.
Hier ist die Kuhle. Sehr vorsichtig.
I'm sorry, I wish we had 2 months, but we have 10 minutes. Just sing a song. It's quite easy. You just sing along, and you can sing along. Right away went along with my accompaniment. That's great. But I mean, just sing the song. It's quite simple. that on solfege. One. Where's the do? So it says. Should we do it in C major instead? Just for the.
That's good.
Let's do it in C.
It's just a
Yeah, let's do it.
It's just an
F sharp, D. idea that we, of course, make a lot of exercises, but we also always take a whole musical piece. We learn it by heart. We sing it on solfege. We write it on the board. We sing the bass notes. We write them down. And we improvise while we look at the bass notes, while we look at the melody, while we look at the possibilities for scales, and pointing out certain pitches and tonalities that will ensure that if I reach that special pitch, then the whole scale or the whole harmonic progression opens up just like that place. And because we get used to singing every key and singing notes on every chord and so on, we can develop, yes, like 6 people can sing in really good voices, transposing the whole piece just a half or to the flat 6 or whatever. And so you're really going out with music and going into your own composition, a world of making music with a bag, a rucksack. And so I think in this way, imitation and improvisation is about creativity all the way. But it's also, as I said in the beginning, it's hard work. But start in one corner and let it develop. So I guess that was what was possible within 2 hours. Thank you very much.